let me do an update on what they said, and then I'll give you my opinion. So the mid-season is going to be released next week. We're going to get the patch notes later. We don't have the patch notes now. The live stream for they're going to have a campfire for season 7 PTR next week. They said that one's going to be a lot bigger than the campfire chat that we just had. It'll have all the new stuff for season 7. We'll see what's going to happen. It's going to happen after Thanksgiving. Then they said that they're very focused as a team on tightening up what they already have made. I guess to me that's bad news, because I think Diablo 4 really lacks a lot of things still. I think we really lack a lot of crafting. I think we really lack a lot of end game, among other things. If we're just going to be tightening up everything that we already have, it will be making the game better. But is this going to be the giant Kickstarter that we need to really take Diablo 4 to the next level? It certainly doesn't sound like it. I really hope that the stream next week does this for us, but it doesn't sound like that's what we're going to get based upon what they said. In the mid-season, they said they're not nerfing the Spiritborn, and they're bringing the other classes up to the level of a bug-fixed Spiritborn. I think this is probably their best. They asked me my opinion on this a few weeks ago, and this is exactly what I told them to do, and here's why. If you nerf the Spiritborn mid-season, right now, all the casual players who are enjoying the Spiritborn and they've invested all of their time into one character, maybe they're a masterworking level 6, and they've been following the Maxroll guide or whatever, if all of a sudden that you nerf it, they are not going to forgive you for that. They're going to hate you for that. And you didn't nerf, as they said, Ball Lightning in Season 2. You didn't nerf Lightning Spear in Season 5. You just let it ride, and people like feeling overpowered. It does suck for the other classes, though, because comparatively, the other classes suck now compared to the Spiritborn. That's the bad part. But the problem with the Spiritborn mostly is bugs. It's not that if you took out all the bugs that the Spiritborn would still crush every class. I still think they would be the best class, but it wouldn't be by nearly as much. So the fact that they're letting it ride, I think, is the best situation for the really casual players. It sucks for the blasters, who are sick of just hitting for 20 trillion damage, but it is what it is. Bringing the other classes up to the bug fix level of the Spiritborn would put them in a good position for Season 7, and we went through here and saw what they're going to do. They said there's going to be more than this, but essentially, Barbs are getting their core skills buffed, Druids have their key passives, Necros, their basic skills. I don't really know of any basic skill build for Necros, but maybe this will create one. Rogues, core skills, and key passives. So Victimize is getting buffed. This has been the $1 million question for Rogues for a long time. Victimize was like the greatest thing ever, and then it was terrible. And then it was the greatest thing ever on the PTR, and then they nerfed it. Now they're buffing it again. It's like severe whiplash over here. Key passives for Sorcerers, and Spiritborn is just getting the skills buff that nobody ever uses. And they're buffing a ton of bad legendary powers and uniques. I don't know if this is going to be enough to make everybody super excited to log into the mid-season event, but I guess at a minimum, it's going to make things better in Season 7. They're going to buff unused rune words. They're going to buff the shrines so they scale with you and your Paragon level. They specifically called out the Conduit Shrine. One thing for me in particular with the Conduit Shrine is it's not just a function of it doing more damage. I don't like the way that the Conduit Shrine works. I feel like if they wanted to keep the Conduit Shrine as it is, where it takes away the power of your character, then I think that they should make it work way better. I think you should just move way faster, and you should just zap everything for 30 seconds and just destroy everything. Just turning up the damage here doesn't really do it for me, if I'm being completely honest. Now here came kind of the $1 million question. What events are you going to release in the mid-season that are going to make us want to come back and play? And they're bringing back the old event that they had, the Red Cloak Tour from last year, and the Mother's Blessing buff for like XP and stuff that we get every time. And they have a welcome back booster which is going to be good, I guess, for the super casuals, because the welcome back booster gives you all of the altars of Lilith. But any even kind of remotely serious player of Diablo in the last year and a half has collected the altars of Lilith by now. So this is just, it's like for anybody like watching the stream or watching my YouTube, if any of you are watching this, there's probably almost none of you that don't have your altars of Lilith, because if you're just consuming Diablo 4 content, then you should probably have them by now, unless you just absolutely hate collecting them. So an event that we already had before, and a buff that we've already had 100 times, and the welcome back booster that has nothing to do with the audience that I'm talking to almost entirely. I'm struggling to find how I'm supposed to get excited for the mid-season event. They had a Q&A. They're going to make maxing the codex powers easier, because a lot of people don't know the ancestral has 5 extra tiers, but when you get a non-ancestral and it's maxed, it shows it that it's maxed, but it isn't maxed. And then the ranges of the ancestral go from the bottom of a non-ancestral to 5 tiers higher, which is why it makes maxing them so impossible. I think they said that this change is coming in season 7, if I remember correctly. So it's not even going to happen now. They're not planning to change the grind to 300. A lot of people have said that it's very daunting. Another issue that they didn't really talk about is, in my opinion, it's not very rewarding either. And it doesn't need to be rewarding in terms of character power, but the cosmetics there aren't really there either. So, yeah, I guess that's the way that they're going with it. They said bottleneck materials will change in season 7 if you don't have your rawhide or something, but not drastically. And they said, like, with the mid-season patches, like, don't expect new content pieces. So, we're going to get like these kind of events that we've had before. Don't expect new things. The new things will be on the season launches. Said they are trying to fix all the crashes from the engineering team. They will look at changes for tempering, but they didn't seem like they were going to do anything currently. And they hinted very strongly that the armory is coming in season 7. So they did say that the patch notes coming out next week for the mid-season thing will be much more in detail than these things that we see here. So I will read them. I will cover them. I can make a tier list or something how I think it's going to be. But if I'm being completely honest, this Campfire Chat has kind of taken the wind out of my sails for the mid-season thing. I do think it is positioning season 7 to be a much better version of the game. But probably the most disheartening thing to me was just talking about how we're just tightening up what they have. I really hope that they didn't mean this for like the next several months and seasons, that we're not going to get anything new. I hope that that's not what they meant. And I hope that maybe they just meant it for the mid-season buff, but they reiterated it a couple of times. So, yeah, I'm still here really, really hoping that Diablo gets a real end game. I'm just begging for it. I hope we can get some info in season 7. The armory is going to be really cool. I do really want that, but that should have been in the game a long time ago, right? So it's hard to get excited for it. Not trying to be a negative Nancy here, but well, whatever. I don't know. That's the mid-season update.